What is up? Late start for me today. Sorry about that, gentlemen, but we are live with the NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. JC, I'm happy to have you here today, and I'm happy to be talking NBA because I've been doing good in the NBA, and we'll talk about the NFL next on Talking Touchdowns, of course, but not as good. But hey, we've been doing the playbooks, and the RPB tags just continue to cash. We went 2-1 yesterday. One flaw that I saw over the weekend, and I might be overreacting, I got to stop taking plus 5.5. It's a key number, and they foul right through it. We would have been 3-0 yesterday. What team was that? Who was my 5.5? The Pistons foul with 1 second to go, down by 5. Great job, guys.
Like 4 is like almost as good as money line. So you're gonna win, probably win by 4. 5.5, 6 is definitely when you start like really got to think about it.
You know what's so funny is, and the Cavs were 5.5 to open today. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to lay these 5.5s now if the numbers warrant it, but I'm going to stay away. Almost like earlier in the year, if you were in the playbook, you were noticing almost all my unders were the leans for the first month because I just felt that too many games were going over. Right. And now you'll see, we have a steady mix. And I'll tell you what, that's what I feel good as far as the NBA playbook and the projections. So the last 3 games, we win, we go 3-2 on Saturday, 2-1 yesterday. So that's 5-3. And the winners were just winners, right? Like we had the Philadelphia over yesterday, over 219. I think the game ended at 238, right? We had the under 220 in Toronto. The game ended like 205, right? So there's these sweat-free cashes. And then the ones that were missing, I'm missing by 0.5 point because I had a plus 5.5 with Minnesota. They lost by 6 on Saturday night. And another one that was pretty close as well. So I feel like that's right. And I'm just going to fine tune for these situational spots. So here we go. So Dave says, hey, I'm new. Why is 5.5 a key number in the NBA? It seems like 6 is where they stop fouling. So like I said, even down 5 last night, they foul with 1 second to go. 6 seems to be that number. So 6 and 7, just like the NFL, that's going to be my new key. So we're going to stay away from taking those 5.5s, even when the model suggests it. But I have 4 RPB tags up tonight. Of course, you'll have to be a member of Run Pure Sports to see all those. But I'm sure if you're a pretty sharp guy, you'll figure it out as we talk our way through these games. So, JC, before we get started, let's talk about the weekend. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. I told you about all my other stuff, but the main takeaway, of course, has to be from the Pelicans and the Suns. The Pelicans get that great win Friday night. Zion does the dunk, and who cares if he dunks? That was a badass dunk. People were complaining they're stupid. But, it's supposed to fire the Suns up. It's supposed to do this, supposed to do that. Not so fast. The Pelicans win again. They are now firmly in first place in the Western Conference. What were your takeaway from that little 2-game set? And do you like the 2-game sets? Because as a handicapper, I struggle with them, but as a fan, I think they're fun. What did you think of the Pelicans and the Suns?
Yeah, I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, I know Tyler had them. I had them early this season as kind of a team to watch. If they could stay healthy, I knew they'd cause problems. I had no idea they'd be this ferocious. I mean, they're kicking butts and taking name. I expect them to be kind of like the Grizzlies were last year, like a heavy competitor, hanging around 3rd and 4th, but they took first place and they're just running away with it. I mean, they are so good. They're so talented. Zion's a freak. I'm so happy he's not turning into a Greg Oden. I agree. I personally hate the back-to-back slates. I've always hated them. Like it's a completely different game, right? So like that first game, you just handicap it normal. And then I never know what to make of the second games. I hate picking them.
Because the projections are going to be pretty close to the same. They're not going to change off one game.
But like it pisses me off when like you have like one game where the total is like 250 and then the next night both teams struggle to reach 100. Like, so that's kind of more. They're the same by all means.
And I feel like the playoff zigzag's a little easier. Where this one, I'm not as big a believer in the zigzag. But it's funny that we're talking about this because we do have that situation here again tonight. So let's see how it goes. I'm dropping this in the Discord for everyone. I put it in the NBA Discord, not the media, but whatever. That'll be fun. If you remember Run Pure Sports, make sure you're checking out that Discord, and let's dive right in. So this first one, is this a run back? No, it's not. The Miami Heat are -3 in Indiana taking on the Pacers. This game was 2.5 early. Total 228, of course, with every Heat game. I mean, the Heat are the new, right? Just screw us over with these injury reports. So they've done it again. Jimmy Butler's probable, Max Strus probable, Tyler Hero probable. Gabe Vincent's out. Well, let's have some clarity there. Orlando Robinson's back. I don't know Orlando Robinson. Forgive me. Dwayne Dedman's questionable. Duncan Robinson probable. Victor Oladipo probable. So you got every single ball handler on the team as probable. And then on the Indy side, no one on the report. I just see a Chris Duarte still out for the team.
There.
So obviously doing a little NFL. I mean, there's no one that's out that's just not going to be on this report, right? Like,
right.
Halliburton's back, right? I should have some Miles Turner action tonight. So I don't know. How do you approach this? I'm assuming most of those Miami guys are going to play. I did my projections is that they were going to play, and I had this game pretty close to the actual number. To me, just looking at the game, it seems to be Pacers or pass right now. Is Miami a little undervalued here? I feel like this Miami team's getting old before our eyes, because here's what happened. Bam hasn't improved, right? Because our love for Bam was just, well, if he continues to improve at this rate, but he seemed to have hit a wall after the bubble. He's still a good player. He's just not that dominant big man that we thought. I think Butler's fallen off a little bit, especially on the defensive end, just doesn't seem to make the impact. Now, I say a little bit. He's still an all-star caliber player. But Kyle Lowry's one that I really feel is kind of falling off the cliff, especially on the defensive end. Now, I'm not saying this Miami team can't get hot and start making threes with some of these role players and hashtag Heat culture. But this might be the year that Miami looks to blow it up. I wonder if they can continue to just grit and grind Memphis Grizzlies styles, their way to win. The numbers didn't give me a lot here, but just my brain leans the Pacers here at +3, or maybe even taking a stab at the +130. What are your thoughts, JC?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, Miami, like you nailed it. They've been so unpredictable. It's like they're barely hanging in. Like, I don't know. They're just a team you kind of keep waiting for them to rebound. It hasn't happened yet. They keep having flashes of greatness. They've lost their last 4 at the spread, though. So I'm hard pressed to ever bet on the Heat. Like, if anything, if there's a spot where I think they're going to win, I'm probably just going to leave it alone. As for the Pacers, though, I mean, we talked about it last week, that brutal road trip they were on. They get home. They're 2 games at home. You know, they beat Washington, which everybody beats Washington. They lose to the Nets. Now they're back on the road. So the only thing I did notice is Indiana's team totals. So coming back home, their totals were a lot higher. So that's good for them. I definitely think that was probably, probably being home is the thing they needed maybe to get back on track. But yeah, I mean, it's too inconsistent, both teams, to get a strong read, to have a strong opinion. I'm with you, though. I would definitely lean Pacers. I also lean under. These teams played back in November, and Indiana won 101-99. Granted, both these teams are pretty different from what they were in November, so I don't put too much stock in that. But for the under, the other stat that I got is the under's 9-4 in the last 13 meetings between these teams. So if I just got to make a play, that's where I'm going. Don't love this game though. Not
okay. I thought that maybe we might be able to talk ourselves into a Pacers bet. And maybe we'll circle back around at the end, but nah, I don't love it either. I mean, maybe I just think that as down as I am on the Heat, we're holding these teams at different standards. We hold the Heat at that championship level standard, right? Sure. Where we say this team can't compete for a title, but they've been in the Eastern Conference Finals. They've been a playoff team for years. So that's the standard we hold them to. The Pacers, we thought they were going to suck, right? We're thinking, Victor and Tyrese, what a combination, right? And they've exceeded expectations here. You know who's another one that I was looking at, right? The same way? The Jazz and the Warriors. They have about the same record, right? Yeah. We're like, the Jazz are, way to go, Jazz, way to go, Jazz. And, the Warriors, they're really struggling. They're really having a bad year. It's the expectation.
Yeah, I mean, we look at those rosters, right? Like, you could, most people can name the Miami starting 5 coming into this year. Halliburton's probably the only name on Indiana. Same thing goes for the Warriors and Jazz. It's just, it's the roster they're working with. It's a lot more impressive when you're doing it with nobody than with, Curry and stuff.
All right. Well, here's another game that I struggle to
I
really
got a quick
land.
prop for you though.
Okay, go ahead.
I would say just looking at since Halliburton this month, he's been incredible. Over 19 and a half should be easy. He's been hitting over 20 most of his games. So Halliburton over 19 and a half point is definitely the one pick I would take from this game if you want some money on it.
Fair. Sounds like a plan. So Halliburton prop. Hey, yeah. I mean, going back into our Kyle Lowry kind of dusty assertion. So
yeah,
hopefully Tyrese will be able to take advantage of that. This is another game that I didn't land on a play yet. The Brooklyn Nets are -5.5 in Washington, taking on the Wizards. Kevin Durant returns to his hometown, so that obviously makes Kevin Durant props appealing. They sat everybody their last game, but then they beat Indiana, right? Superstar subtraction in full effect.
Yeah.
Now Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, T.J. Warren, Joe Harris, Seth Curry, all back. On the other side, Will Barton's back, but he has not been good. Beal's still out, one of the worst contracts in the NBA, right? They said, hey, if we can waste money on John Wall, we can waste money on Bradley Beal. Hachimura is still out. Claxton's questionable. Monty Morris is questionable. And Anthony Gill is questionable. I thought that KCP trade would be good for the Wizards, but it really hasn't been so far. What has been good for them is the play of Kristaps Porzingis against the smaller Nets front court. He should have his way tonight. They're catching 5.5 at home. My model liked the Wizards. I just wasn't sure what to do with this game. It was only a 1-point edge too. I had the Nets winning by 4. To me, this seems like Washington or pass here. I don't want to lay it with Brooklyn on the road, but I don't know. How do we do here? Am I wrong? Like KD props back in the hometown. How are you approaching this one?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's not a strong play, but I mean if I got to put money on, I'm definitely taking the Nets. Washington's just been so bad recently. They lost 9 of their last 10, and of that 10, they've only won a spread twice. And one of those was that game they won straight up because they were a dog. So of course they covered that. Like they're just terrible. Like I agree. I had it at 6. You tell me 5.5. Again, that's that number we just talked about.
Right, the number we just talked about. And then so it's like when I got to 4, I'm like, well, I'm going to learn my lesson from this weekend. And the worst thing that could happen would be I just, let's say they win by 4, right? And I would have ended up covering. That's fine. I'd rather be careful and stay off these games, especially when I was noticing, because we're constantly tinkering with these projections, right? When I was noticing, hey, this is one of the biggest flaws in my model is that when it's projected to 4 or 5, it's getting past 6 a lot more often. And I've always known that. I guess it was just doing so well that I'm just like, hey, I'm going to just keep betting it, right? Like, why not? Like, this is great. Like, why bother, breaking all these games down and watching the tape? I can just punch these numbers in and win money. So there we have it there. What do you think about this Kevin Durant though prop? Do you think he goes big here in Washington, his hometown? I definitely think that's a possibility. I know it's simplistic, but at the same time, we are handicapping just a bunch of really big men throwing a ball through a hoop.
Yeah, for sure. No, so I mean, one thing I was going to call out, if you wanted to grab Brooklyn Nets at -4.5, you can catch it at 138. So that's not terrible, if you really want to buy, if you want to buy a point or two.
Do you really want to do that though?
I would do that before I bet Wizards.
Okay, fair.
As for KD, yeah, of course. I mean, that's the one prop I got written down. KD over 28.5 points. It's just keep going back to that. Well,
right. It's the easy narrative, but sometimes easy works.
Oh yeah, even without the narrative, he's just been consistently putting up over 30 points. But yeah, being back home, LeBron let me down when he was in Cleveland last week, so hopefully KD can come through on this one.
Yeah, were you surprised by that?
Huge, yeah. I mean, I was watching the show and then I put it in the Discord. Like LeBron, he blows it up when he's at home, and he just had a terrible game. It probably didn't help that AD went out early, but still, like it's LeBron James in Cleveland. The man should be able to put up 30 easy. But
are you starting to see some signs of the age? Because I feel like I am.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I felt that way last season, and just. Like, yeah, you can point out to like injuries and Westbrook being terrible, but look at all the Cleveland teams that LeBron carried, right? I'm not at this age. Yeah, you're not expecting him to take this team and make a finals run, but you would think he'd be able to carry any team to the playoffs. So definitely,
I think he's just old. Like no one's ever really done it at this age, right?
Yeah, I was trying to think when How old was Jordan in?
He was 36, but even then, that was not what's it called? He was not the same guy.
No, and that was
it was all turnaround mid-range jumpers.
Yeah. And he had a much better supporting cast than LeBron has, so that's totally fair.
Yeah. So the team they were already dialed in too, right? Mm-hmm. At that point. So
what do you got on the total here?
I had it right at the number.
Oh, okay. So just no play from you.
Yeah, on the play, but don't want to get too much away. But I wrote fade next to this game. I think if you do anything, you bet that Durant prop. I know it seems easy, but I mean, it's like that's the way that things work in the NBA. Let's talk about a game that what's up?
We'll take our money however we can get it.
Yeah, let's talk about a game I do have an edge on, and people are going to go. And this is for people, especially who use the playbook. When people are out for their first game out, I don't care. Like, for example, we had the Cavs. I had a minus 5.5. What game was that? It wasn't the Lakers game. Who did they play after the Lakers? I swear COVID's still messing with my memory. Was that the Kings? Anyways, I had minus 5.5, and they go, oh, spread still likes him even with Mitchell out. Yeah, for one game, I do. I think that they take these out. So, and the reason I'm talking about that is I have John Morant questionable on this Memphis game.
Yeah.
Right. And that's obviously, seems like a big deal, right? No. Jake LaRavia is questionable. Steven Adams questionable. Bogdan Bogdanovic is doubtful. I don't care for this one game. If Morant's out, I still like the Grizzlies here. This Hawks team is full of turmoil. I mean, think about just two opposite cultures here with the Memphis Grizzlies and the Atlanta Hawks. And one, you have kind of an entitled superstar that's having problems with the coach. And now, right, that this is all coming out, I guess his teammates really aren't too happy about standing in the corner while he dribbles around and jacks it up from 33 feet, right? Kuzma talked about his time in the Lakers and said the same thing. Hey, I love being in Washington. I get to do more than stand in the corner. So now I think with all this coming out, they're feeling a little safer to go against it. And it's going to be interesting to see. But DeJounte Murray's out, which means they're playing their old way. John Collins is out, which I don't really know how much he really means to the spread because of the way this team is formatted. But my point is you have an Atlanta team in turmoil that doesn't do the fundamentals right. I don't think Nate McMillan's a very good coach to begin with. He really just had that nice run when he took them over, but it wasn't even a full season. Now you're seeing and I'm old too, right? But these old school guys, they can't coach the new guys, right? And that could be an issue. But I feel like Taylor Jenkins is doing a great job with this team. And even if John Morant's out, I still expect the Grizzlies to cover. It opened at 7. It's at 8 now. I still like it at 8. I'm taking the Grizzlies minus 8. What do you think?
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, it's John Morant's a lot better defensively this year. He's looking like a better teammate, a better leader. But last season, the Grizzlies were better without John Morant. It's one of those kind of weird anomalies. Like he's
they were
top 10 player in the league. You could make an argument for top 5, but like last season, team was better without him. This year, I haven't looked at the numbers. He hasn't been out quite enough, I'd say, to have a solid sample size. But I completely agree. Like it's no big deal if he's out. Bane does hurt a little bit just because you don't have that presence down low. Triple J is not getting it done like he did last season. But this Hawks team is just terrible. I mean, like since all that crap came out, they've just been abysmal. And not only that, the Grizzlies, they're on a 5-game winning streak and they haven't lost at the spread. So I'm certainly not about to bet on that streak to end hosting the Hawks. Just no shot.
All right. So we both like the Grizzlies here. Didn't have a play on the total.
I like the over. I was looking at that. Both these teams can put up points. And I put a little parlay together. If you just want the money line, because 8.5 is still a lot of points. If you just parlay the over and Grizzlies money line, you can get plus 140 on that.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Do you like that better than laying the points?
Depends how you're feeling. Like
I feel safe laying the points. That's why
this year that like I'm not that confident myself that hit's gonna pick, but just 8.5, man, that's a lot of points. But
you got 8.5. Okay, I saw minus 8 offshore.
Either way,
I had them winning by 11.
But I could see them winning this game by 20. So yeah. I'd probably do both, just because if the over doesn't hit, it's probably because Memphis wins like 115-99.
Yeah, I know. That's why I think I'd rather just lay the 8. But or if you parlay it, just go for the full parlay.
Yeah.
So, all right. Do you have any props for this game?
No, nothing was out when I was looking this like an hour ago.
All right. Let's yeah, it's probably with the John Morant news makes sense. Let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers who are in San Antonio taking on the Spurs. Spurs are plus 8.5. This line was 5.5 earlier. It's moved 3 points. Let's try and figure out why. Let's see. So
Nothing crazy on the injury report. I caught
Donovan Mitchell questionable, Kevin Love questionable, Podol out, Diop out, Sochan questionable. Is that because maybe Donovan Mitchell will play?
Maybe. I would think. I mean, like we talk about it. Questionable is basically probable. Like, although playing the Spurs, I don't know if you just give him the night off because you should be able to beat the Spurs without Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, we thought the Spurs would be bad, and they're really bad. Speaking of really good, my guy Tyler joining us. Tyler, we've already gone through the Heat, Pacers, Nets, Wizards, and Hawks, Grizzlies. Do you have any strong takes on that, or do you just want to jump in with us on the Cavs, Spurs?
Oh, we could just jump right in. I had no hot takes on those games.
Okay. Yeah, so Cavs and Spurs. Let's start with you, Tyler. Spurs catching 8.5 at home. This line was 5.5. I'm assuming the line moved because Donovan Mitchell's going to play. I like the over in this game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, if he's in, I definitely like the over, and I think they cover if he does play. And looking at some of these performance doubles, Garland double and win plus 225, I'd go for, and then maybe even coming on a Keldon Johnson PRA. Is that that number's still sitting at 29.5. That seems a bit short for him, and he has been shooting the ball a lot better. So
yeah, I think that number's depressed because he was so bad for the first month or month and a half, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so a good chance to take advantage of an uptick there. JC, what are your thoughts here on the Cavs and the Spurs?
Yeah, this is a tough one. Hang on, I'm making this number right. Yeah. So, I mean, the Spurs, I mean, they're bad. I mean, they had that 11-game losing streak, although three of them were against the Lakers. So that makes it even more terrible. And then they had 2 wins. Yeah, they had 2 wins in a row against the Rockets, which and who else did they play? And the Heat. Those wins not that impressive. Going up against Cav teams that just look phenomenal. Kind of weird. Both teams scored a similar rate. However, Cleveland has the best defense in the league, and the Spurs have the worst defense in the league. So I expect the Cavs to run up that total. Over, I think, is a great play. And, yeah, just lay the points, give me the Cavs. No problem here.
All right. Tyler, have you pulled up the props? Do you have any player props you're looking at for this game?
Just that Keldon Johnson PRA and then that performance double on Garland we already talked about.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have caught that. Okay, let's talk about the Thunder. Another 8.5-point spread. They're in Dallas taking on the Mavericks, plus 8.5 for the Thunder. Total 228.5. I like the under here. Dallas goes under a lot. Luka loves to dribble the air out of the ball. And it's so funny. You bet these Dallas unders, and you're like, oh, they're on pace to go over. You're on pace to go over. I don't think Luka starts the set until the 10 seconds left in the final 5 minutes of the game. So it feels like we're always safe. Maybe you try and even get a live under and an even safer number, but I feel safe there on the pregame. And we have 2 teams that are kind of opposite against the spread, right? Dallas gets the win. They don't cover very often. Thunder don't win very often, but they cover a lot. Seems to me like it's the 8.5 or pass here. Tyler, start with you. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, if I was betting it like just against the spread here, it'd definitely be taking the 8.5 points. Is there still the crazy stat where Luka scored almost 30 points in every single one of their wins? Because looking at the box scores, I only see one win. It was against Denver recently. They won by 1. He scored 22 in that game. Every single other game, it's got a W next to it in their schedule. He has 30 plus. In a matchup against OKC where we don't think they're going to cover, why not just take them 30 plus points and they win the game at plus 125?
Hey, one more time.
That's the safest. Luka to score 30 and Dallas wins is plus 125. I think that's the easiest way to bet this game.
Sounds good. What do you think, JC?
Denver. So on the 6th, they beat Denver, but he only had 22. But other than that, yeah, what you just said seems to check out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to roll with that then. I'm going to roll with him putting up the points and they pick up the win. Hopefully SGA doesn't screw me.
All right. What do you think, JC?
Yeah, it's just too many points here. We're still waiting for Dallas to turn it on and heat up because they're just not playing like they did last season at this point. Both teams coming in on losing skids. The last two times these teams played went to overtime. This season, Thunder won 117-111 in overtime. It was 99-99 at the end of regulation. So I think Thunder playing tough again. Probably don't squeak out a win. But yeah, 8.5, kind of an easy play here. And if you want to go for OT for the third game in a row, that's plus 1,500.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, that's always a fun one. Never turned down.
Looking back at that box score too, I know they had overtime, but Luka just squeaked up over that 30, and dude shot 8 for 23.
Wow.
If he can get over 30, and mind you, it was overtime, but still shooting that bad to get up over 30, I think he's coming back with some vengeance in this spot.
Also, Thunder got the second worst defense in the league, so yeah, I think Luka should tear him up.
All right. Here's one of those run back games. I guess there was only one, right? It seemed like there was more, but the run back we have tonight is the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Blazers. Like I said, that was one of my other failed 5.5s this weekend. We're not taking plus 5.5 anymore on the RPV tags, Tyler. It's a dead cursed number.
You know what?
I always lose by 6
You know what else
7.
we're not doing, spread? And I've talked about this before when it comes to football, and I did it anyway, and they screwed me. Right. We're never teasing teams up. We always tease them down. Tease the Vikings up, and what happens? They kick me right in the nuts.
It's so weird, though, because statistically, and we'll talk about this on Talking Touchdowns, but statistically, teasing teams up has been better than taking the road favorites down. What's up?
You want to know who they were paired with? Knocked the Philly down to -1. I don't think I was ever in trouble on that side of the team.
Dude, yeah, we had all of them. We did the one on the show. We had the Eagles, the Ravens, the whatever. We got it. We'll talk about that one later. Let's talk about the Timberwolves running this back. Now they're +4 tonight. What did we see the other night to make us think that they should be getting the extra point? I don't get this. I don't get this at all. They won by 6 last night. I guess they're thinking Lillard's not going to get 40 and Simons isn't going to get 31. I'll tell you what, I felt like we had a nice chance to cover, right, Tyler? I even threw it in the Discord. Minnesota seems live, but it was kind of feeling bleak there towards the end. Why would we not take the Blazers again? Projections are going to be exactly the same, so that's why I like these. You can't even use the projections unless you got it right last time, but even then it's kind of scary. Tyler, what do we do in this second game where these teams are playing each other again? Trailblazers, Timberwolves.
I'm just taking Portland again. I think the two guards have their way. I don't trust Edwards and Russell to stop Lillard and Simons. Simons at 22.5 on his points, I think, is a bit short. I think he could go over that pretty easily. I like Dame's assists also right at that 7.5 number because he's been dishing the ball a lot better. If he is the guy, I think, too, if Simons gets hot, he's just going to feed him the ball. He's not going to be one of those guys that tries to match him. He's just going to feed it to him. He can get the ball to Nurkic also, Grant. So like that over 7.5 on his assist, and I think they do cover the game.
Okay, you like Portland. I think it's Portland or no play. What do you think, JC?
Man, honestly, I'm kind of leaning Timberwolves. I mean, they played them tough last time out.
Okay.
Portland just squeaked out the win at the spread. So +4, I think they play them hard. I love the over here based on the crazy amount of points we had last time. But give me the Timberwolves. Give me the money line. They need to get rolling here. They need to get some wins with it's a Cat that's out. Or Anthony Edwards out.
He's not out, is he?
No, I thought Cat was out.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah,
for a while.
Yes.
Yeah. The only one on Minnesota's side that's on this report is Jordan McLaughlin, doubtful. I don't expect him to play. Torian Prince is out. Josh Hart's probable. Drew Eubanks, who's actually worth more to the spread than you realize, and Justice Winslow are all probable. I would think they would all play. That's what we have there. But you know what? We've had kind of a pretty low-key morning so far. I'd say that's like the first hot take of the day, JC. So you're going to take that Timberwolves money line, huh? And hey, a little zigzagging effect there, Tyler. Are you surprised to see JC is going to go ahead and take that money line, Tyler?
No, I'm not. I mean, these aren't the best teams. And would it really surprise us if the Timberwolves won a game? Not really. It's a spread of -or +4. They could easily come in here and win this game.
All right, I wrote about this one on Bookmakers Review. Tyler, I took the under for Yusuf Nurkic. And my idea is if Lillard and Simons can just cook these guys on the perimeter, why would you even bother going down low? What do you think of that one, Tyler?
Yeah, I agree there. My only worry, though, is maybe he starts hitting a few perimeter shots. He can't shoot the ball well sometimes.
Yeah.
And if Gobert just kind of hangs out in the paint, he hits a couple shots, you might be ass out there.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Unders are never fun, but anyways, that's what I got. Would you have any props for this one, JC?
No, the Timberwolves are too many guys. They share the ball too well for me to really love any props in this one.
Yeah, and they need to stop sharing the ball and let my guy A1 live. Let him cook, man. Let him cook. Tyler, anything more on this one before I move on?
No, that's it for me on that one.
Okay, hey, we're going through quick. It's only a 7-game Monday slate. I wonder why they toned it down a little bit.
I'll tell you that much.
I'm fine with it, actually. I think 7 games is like the perfect amount to handicap. I think it's a great DFS slate as well, right? Because you don't have like 13 and so much news to navigate. Here's a spot where my numbers had this one right on, but the situation just screams to take the Boston Celtics. They're in Los Angeles taking on the Clippers. Why would I do it? Why would I go against my projections that have been doing so good? Because of this spot. The Celtics finally lost, Tyler. They lost to the Warriors the other night. I probably should have made that a play. I had Warriors money line as a lean there in the playbook. Just the idea that you can't play perfect basketball forever. And the Warriors just have that high ceiling, right? They just have that high ceiling where even if they're 14-13 or whatever they are now, they could still play with the best teams in the NBA. Now I didn't play it, so boo-hoo, poor me. But now, the Warriors' fortune will be the Clippers' misfortune, because I think if they would have beat the Warriors, right, this would have been the huge letdown spot that we would have been targeting, right? They beat the Warriors. They go down to L.A. They're loving life. They're in L.A. JC, you know about nightlife in LA, right? I mean,
I do.
We could have got a great situation here, but now I feel like you get a focused Celtics team that's going to be looking to make a statement. So I like the Celtics to cover. I like Tatum to go over. It just seems like the easy bounce back narrative, Tyler, for a team that might have get woken up or a little bit pissed off by that most recent loss. What do you think? Am I overplaying one loss, or do you agree with me?
I'm going to fully trust this game with you because I bet Boston when they were in Golden State, and a team that didn't have their best defender just shell-shocked Tatum, and he couldn't do anything. So they stole my money there. You told me start betting projections more because it's so hard to do these lineups.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let you decide this game. So we're betting Boston. We're going against the projections. I ain't doing it on my own, though, because I'm not sitting here breaking stuff tonight.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I mean, to be fair, my projections had the Celtics winning by round 4. So it had it. It's like, hey, this game is lined right. I just think that, yeah.
Oh, look at this injury report. Have we ever seen a Clippers injury report that looked this clean?
No. It's a good point.
I'm not.
They match up very well, too. They got 2 wings that can guard.
So, I'm trying to be unbiased. I'm trying to do the smart thing, and seeing Clippers Celtics -3.5, that should be an auto bet. But knowing that they got this clean injury report, Clippers need to show out because they have this clean injury report. They're playing a team that both teams want to be, playing come finals times. And Robert called it out. Celtics got the Lakers in 2 games. So, yeah, definitely losing to Golden State definitely hurt the Clippers, right? Because otherwise they would have beat Golden State and then just been looking ahead to the Lakers. But I feel like a Clippers upset's in play here. I'm not, going to die on that hill, but I definitely think it's something to consider. And I don't think Celtics -3.5 is as clean of a play as it appears to be.
All right. So getting a little pushback there. I'd love to see it. What do you guys think, chat? We'll keep it going. Any props you like in this game there, JC?
Again, I hate going against the spread, but I like Tatum's under. He's been he's been right at 30, and just looking at the matchups for the Celtics to win, they're really going to have to, play team ball. I don't think one player like Tatum can just take over when you got Leonard and Paul George on the floor. So I don't think he gets there. He hasn't hit 30 this month, and I don't think he's about to start this tonight.
Okay, but let's talk about Kawhi. I mean,
Sure. But you
just
got
to
to
say you started watching basketball this year. I mean, he's not the guy he was 3 years ago.
Totally. I mean, I lost. Who they play? Saturday night, I took Kawhi's points, and I got burned on that. So I completely agree.
Who was that? Was that against the Magic?
Yeah, I think
Was
it
that
was.
the
Was it the
Magic
Magic?
I don't know. That could have been Friday night.
Friday night they played the Magic.
Can you believe my guy
the
Clyde? What? Oh, it's against the Wizards. Yeah,
Which is just as bad.
Can you believe that my guy Clyde doesn't realize the origin of my name? He doesn't know what Astaire is. He doesn't realize the play on words that's catapulted me to the top of the gambling industry. All right, look that one up. You'll figure it out, Clyde. We'll give you till the rest of the week. You can figure that one out. All right, so we're going head to head here, JC. This is fun. I like that you come on. You've taken a stand on these last two games. You know, we were going to have a relatively clean show. Skip Bayless has already texted me like, "What is this? This isn't content. You guys aren't even arguing with each other. Who would watch this?" Shannon Sharp is pissed at me. But now we're getting a little pushback. So we're opposite on the Blazers game, and then we're opposite on the Celtics game. Tyler, any thoughts on the props, and what do you think of Tatum tonight?
Yeah, I'm not betting any props in this game, to be honest with you.
That's fair.
Just because the game screams trap game to me. You look at the matchups. I don't care that Kawhi's not the same player he was the last couple of years. Guys like that can still always channel that for one game.
Can they do it on the defensive end, though, or just on offense?
Yeah, I think you could do it on both ends.
Okay.
Defensively, they match up well. It's like you put the point guards of Reggie Jackson, John Wall, and Luke Kennard, if you're running him tonight, they could all guard the rotations of the guards for Boston. The two wings for the Clippers match up well with Brown and Tatum. There's no Horford tonight, which means Zubac has the advantage on the inside. Where is Boston's path here the more I look at it, outside of just lighting them up from three?
Just being better at every single wing position?
Are they, though?
Yes.
It's very.
Would you rather have Malcolm Brogdon or John Wall? Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White, or Reggie Jackson?
But Jackson and Wall are going to get their shots off with Leonard and George on the court.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Is like
they suck, though. They suck defensively too. They're going to get eaten apart. I hate this little backcourt that the Clippers have going. I think it's the most overrated backcourt in the NBA. Reggie Jackson hasn't been good for 2 years. John Wall hasn't been good since like 2017.
Tyler, what do you think about the team total or the game total of 224.5?
Probably lean under, but not going to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, I agree because that's the other thing too that's kind of interesting about this game. Celtics are the highest scoring team in the league, and the Clippers are the lowest scoring team in the league. However,
that is
the
interesting.
under is 4-0 in the Celtics last four, and the over is 4-0 in the Clippers last four. So I thought that was kind of an interesting one to look at.
Yeah. What do you do there when it's the high scoring team versus the low scoring team, JC? I usually figure the higher scoring team can trick this lower scoring team into playing at a quicker pace.
You hope, but the other thing too is Clippers are one of the best at keeping opponents' score down. So that's kind of why I lean under. Is I think Clippers are better at slowing down the pace than the Celtics are at bumping up the pace. However, with a fully healthy Clippers team, you might totally be right. They could really just
but they're not fully healthy, and they're missing Norm Powell, who I think is way better than those two guys that I mentioned. Wall and whatever.
Regardless, I mean, still that's not missing Paul George.
You're right. That's a good point there. I'll give you that one. All right. Well, we'll be opposite, and we'll get to check the DMs, and we'll see who wins because we're opposite here on these last two games. But there you have it. Kind of a muted NBA rundown yesterday, but as we'll get into on Talking Touchdowns in 15 minutes, the NFL just kicked us in the nuts yesterday, huh, Tyler? That's one of my worst Sundays.
I think I won one bet, and it was tied to the Cowboys' money line, and I almost didn't win that.
Yeah, I mean, so Talking Touchdowns will be fun, though. I mean, we get to vent it all out. But we're not done yet here on the NBA Rundown. But we would ask you to check out runpuresports.com and give us the thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up. We're here every day, Monday through Friday. We're going to go for 12 Eastern on Monday through Wednesday the next 2 weeks while we're dealing with the Christmas rush for my other work. But we're still going to give you the winners every day. Give us a thumbs up. Get subscribed because these times do change. And that way you'll be notified when we go live. Tyler, time for the best bets.
I'm gonna take that Luka to score 30 and they win the game at plus 130.
Okay, I think that's a pretty good bet. What do you think, JC?
Man, I hate to be a one-trick pony, but if it's cashing, it's cashing. So why go away from it? I'm taking SGA over 29.5 points.
All right, and that's fair. I love some Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. My best bet is my guy right side Clyde will not figure out the origin of my nickname spread Astaire by the end of the week. Just kidding.
What are you thinking on that? What are the odds on that?
It's minus 175 right now. Clyde, we're putting you up to it. You're gonna really have to you turn those Twitter fingers into Google fingers. I'm going to take. That's my favorite one for the night. Let me pull up my open bets. Let's go against JC. Give me the Celtics minus 3.5. Bounce back spot in Los Angeles. I don't care about this full strength Clippers team. I don't care about Kawhi being good in 2019. I don't care about John Wall doing the Dougie as a rookie, and it was one of the cleanest Dougies we've ever seen. Give me the best team in the NBA, the Boston Celtics, to bounce back minus 3.5. All right, JC, there you have it. We made it through the show. Tyler and I have about 15 minutes. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You'll get notified when we go live with Titletown. But we're going to have you close us off, JC. Words of wisdom for the people before we sign off.
Yeah, man, I would just say always be yourself. Unless, of course, you can be Kurt and Call Jones. Then you should be Kurt.
Can't top that. Run pure.